How you doing? My name is Braden Palmer, and I'm going to be teaching you a basic guitar lesson today. This will be the first in a long series of lessons. This one is geared specifically to the absolute beginner. There are three things that I teach a student when they first come to a lesson with me. The first one is finger exercise. It'll help you develop stretching, calluses, coordination, and all sorts of awesome stuff. It's simple. All you have to do, take your first finger, place it on the first fret of the sixth string, and then strike that string with your pick. Make sure you get a good sound. If not, try pressing harder or try pushing a little further up to the edge of the fret. Once you've got that, add the next finger without lifting up the other one. This will help facilitate the stretch. Then the next one, and then the pinky. Just do the best you can. Not everybody can stretch that far at first, especially if you have small hands. If you have to lift up the fingers, go ahead. But ideally, you want to be able to keep them all down at once. And then continue, the next string. And do it slowly. It's more important to get a good sound than to work on speed. Now once you've gone through all 6 strings, we're going to do it backwards, but it's going to be a little bit different. So start with the 4th fret of the first string, the pinky. Make sure the other fingers are not held down. And then you're going to add the 3rd finger, lift up the pinky, but try to keep the pinky as close to the string as possible that it just played. Do the same thing, go through each finger, but try to keep the pinky over the string. This is going to help to work on the crazy pinky syndrome that a lot of guitarists have to deal with. The pinky has a mind of its own, but if you can learn to control a little bit better, you're going to have a step ahead in building your technique from the beginning. So that's step 1. Step 2 is learning some basic chords. There's 8 chords that I start students off with. E minor, E major, A minor, A major, G, C, D, and D minor. So let's take a look at each chord. So to play the E minor chord, you're going to put your 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, and then your 3rd finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Then you're going to strum all 6 strings with the pick. Now to get E major, take this shape and add the 1st finger to the 1st fret of the 3rd string. Now to get the A minor, take this same shape and move everything down by 1 set of strings. Now to get the A major, lift up the 1st finger, keep the other 2, and place the pinky on the 2nd fret of the 2nd string. It'll be a little tight, but with practice you should be able to squeeze all your fingers on there. Now to get the G chord, I'm going to play the 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the 6th string, and then the 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, and then we're going to have the 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, pinky on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. Now this 3rd finger is optional. The chord also sounds fine without that. And then if you want, you can use your 3rd finger instead of the pinky for the 1st string. Next we're going to do the C chord. For the C chord, you place the third finger on the third fret of the fifth string, second finger on the second fret of the fourth string, and then first finger on the first fret of the second string. And now we have a C chord. Now D will be first finger on the second fret of the third string, and then second finger will be on the second fret of the first string, with the third finger placed on the third fret of the second string. Now when you strum the D chord, you can't strum the lowest sixth string because that note's not going to be in the chord. So we strum from the fifth string. And there's your D chord. Now to get D minor, we're going to leave the third finger in place. We're going to take these two off. We're going to place the second finger on the second fret of the third string and the first finger on the first fret of the first string. And again, we're not going to strum the sixth string. So that's D minor. Now the third and final step for an introductory lesson would be to work on strumming one of those chords, getting some rhythm with the right hand. So pick any chord. Most people will start with E minor because it's the easiest of the 8. And just practice strumming all the strings down rhythmically. All the same amount of time between each strum. A metronome will help make this a lot easier and will help build your rhythm. Now once you're comfortable with this, try adding upstrokes in between the downstrokes, as such. Then the final step of this exercise, I'll stop for a minute, is to leave out every other upstroke and get a strum like this. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Once you speed this up, it's a pretty standard rhythm for a lot of rock and pop songs. So there you go. Those are the first 3 steps to get you started playing guitar. Now, while this video is obviously going to be very helpful to you, nothing beats having a private teacher. So, I recommend either you find a private teacher in your local area, or you can contact me if you live in the New York area, and I'd be happy to set up a private lesson, or we can do lessons via the internet. So, thanks for listening. And check out my music, www.bradenpalmer.com, and have fun playing.